I was sitting, well, I wasn't sitting, I went in and laid down on the bed this afternoon and took my Bible with me. I sat down and I began to read. You know, sometimes we can say the same thing, say the same words. And you mean them one way, and I say the very same words, and I mean it another way. I don't know if you follow me. Stay with me here. You know, there was a man in the Bible. He died. His name was Lazarus. Now, I'm going to paraphrase here for just a little bit. I'll read some scripture here in a little bit. Lazarus was a very close friend of Jesus. Mary and Martha was people that Jesus loved. I mean, he loved them. He thought they was the ultimate as far as the people of this world. Jesus thought Mary and Martha and Lazarus was the number one. And so Jesus went away and Lazarus got sick. I'm paraphrasing. Y'all know the story just like I do, but I'm going to tell you. He goes away, and Martha sends word. Lazarus begins to get sick. Now, evidently, this sickness that Lazarus has got doesn't look good. Matter of fact, it just don't look good at all to Martha. And it don't look good to the rest of the family. He is going down, and he's going down quick. The sickness that come on Lazarus, it don't look good. It's going down, he's going down, and he's going down real quick. So Martha sends for Jesus, says, tell him to come, and the one that he loves, Lazarus, is real sick. So they go to Jesus and they tell him, Martha has sent word. Lazarus is really sick. I can just hear him in the line. Now, in speaking it out, they probably said, look, tell Jesus that if he don't get here pretty quick, he might not get to see Lazarus alive again. This is very important. This is very important that he comes, and that he comes real quick. But whenever Jesus gets the word, the disciples were standing around. They all knew that Jesus loved Lazarus, and Mary and Martha, they were close. But Jesus didn't seem to be too interested. So he don't go at that moment. He waits 2 more days. During the 2 days that he waits, the one that he loves, Lazarus, dies. Lazarus is dead. So Jesus told the disciples, we're going back to Judah. They said, once you go back there, they're going to stone you. They're going to kill you if you go back. But he said, I'm going. He said, Lazarus is sleeping. And the disciples looked at him and said, well, if he's asleep, then he's doing real good. Jesus said, no. You don't understand what I'm saying. Lazarus is dead. Now, remember this. Mary was the one that anointed Jesus. Anointed his feet with oil. And wiped it with her hair. There was something about Mary. There was a love there that showed. You know, I've heard people tell others, I love you, but they never show it. They say, well, I love you. But they never do anything to let you know that they love you. See, there's two things that there's one thing that Mary said that Martha said also. And I'm going to read it to you. See, whenever Jesus came, and Martha scolded Jesus. I think I can take the scripture, and well, I'll say scolded him. She felt hard toward Jesus because he didn't come when he meant to, when he should have came. And I'm going to read you some scripture here, and I say with me because I feel like I want to get this over to you tonight. Now listen, it says, and if you got your Bibles, turn to John, the 11th chapter, and I'll be reading I'm going to read in the 20th verse. It says, then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him, but Mary sat still in the house. In other words, Mary didn't get up and go. Martha heard that he was coming, so she gets up and goes. Then saith Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou had been here, my brother had not died. I want to read that one more time. Listen to it. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou had been here, my brother had not died. But I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it thee. Jesus said unto her, thy brother shall rise again. Now, she's on this point in her life that she's thinking, just like Mary's going to think, if Jesus had come whenever we asked him to, if he'd have showed up whenever we asked him to, then Lazarus today would have probably still been alive. Because Jesus would have took this infirmity that was on him, would have took it away, and he would not have died. Now Jesus is going to ask her some questions. And Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection. Wait, I won't get ahead of myself. And Jesus said unto her, thy brother shall rise again. Martha said unto him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. See, there's a little conflict in there. There's a little thing in her mind. She wasn't completely satisfied with what had gone on. She wasn't completely satisfied that Jesus didn't come whenever they first sent for him. She had this little resentment in her mind. Now listen to this. And Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? He asked her a question. He said, believest thou this that I just told you? She still has this little resentment in her mind. Now listen to what she said. And she said unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which shall come into the world. Now, did you hear how she did it? Did you understand what she was talking about? She had that resentment in her mind. She didn't answer the question that he asked her. She didn't answer it. Listen to this. And Jesus said, And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? And she answered like this. And Jesus said, and she said unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which shall come into the world. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to get over to you. Martha was holding a little resentment. She didn't answer Jesus just like he said. He asked her a question, and she didn't answer it just exactly like he intended for her to answer. And I listened to it. And when she had so said, she went away and calling Mary her sister secretly, saying, the master is come and calling for thee. Now, well, she shut it off right there. She didn't go any further. She said, I'll just go in within her mind. I'll go get married. I'll go get married. So she secretly goes to Mary and says, the master has come, and he calls for her. I'm going to read just a little more. And as soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him, talking to Mary. Mary remembered, Mary is the one that Jesus loved. He's the one that he loved more than all of them. Mary was precious to Jesus. Like I said, she anointed his feet with ointment and wiped it with her hair. Now listen. And as soon, I'm going to read that. And as soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came unto him. Now Jesus was not yet come to the town, but was in the place where Martha met him. In other words, he was still out there at the same place that Martha came and met him. Now, stay with me because I want to get something out of this. The Jews then, which were with her in the house, and comforted her, speaking of Mary, when they saw Mary, that she rose up hastily and went out, followed her, saying, she goeth into the grave to weep there. Then when Mary was come where Jesus was, and saw him, here's the difference. Here's the difference. There's a difference here. Remember, I said you can say the same words sometimes and they have a different meaning. You can say them in one way, and if you're not awful careful, you will say them in the wrong way. Sometimes you will say them, and they'll be in the right way, and then you can say the same words again in a different category, and they have a different meaning. Okay? Now listen to what I'm saying. Then, when Mary was come where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying unto him, Lord, now listen to what I said. Martha has just said the same thing. But Mary has got a different meaning to what she's fixing to say. She said, Lord, if thou had been here, my brother had not died. I feel the Lord. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to get over to you tonight. Sometimes you can say the same thing, and behind it, there's a resentment or something. But sometimes you can say the same words, and when you say it, they have all the glory that God can put into it. Now listen to this. When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping, which came with her, he groaned in the spirit, and was troubled. Why was he troubled? He had seen two different personalities. You understand what I'm saying? He had seen two different personalities. Martha had said the same thing, but the personality she had behind it was different than what it was when Mary came. Because Mary came to him and fell on her face before him and began to worship him. Hallelujah. I feel the anointing of the Holy Ghost. I don't know where this is going to stay with me. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. I'm going to read that again. When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping, which came with her, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled, and said, Where have you laid him? Where have you laid him? They said unto him, Lord, come and see. They didn't say, well, we laid him over here in a certain place. They said, you just come and see. You just come and see. Now, we're going to get to Mark again here in just a minute. Jesus wept. Now, there's something going on inside of the Lord. There is something going on inside of Martha. There is something going on inside of Mary. And there's something that is fixing to happen to Lazarus. Now listen to this. Then said the Jews, behold how he loved him. And some of them said, could not this man, which opened the eyes of the blind, have caused that even this man should not have died? See, they had the same resentment that Martha had. Do you see the difference? Do you see how that they fit together here? They had the same resentment that Martha had. They had a resentment because Jesus didn't come. If he had come right whenever that they wanted him to come. See, a lot of times, whenever we need something from God, we want it right then. I want it right now. I don't want you to wait, Lord. I need a miracle worked in my life today, and I need it right now. My wife has got a niece, or we've got a niece. I'll claim her too. But we've got a niece, and every time that she gets up against something, she calls our house and she says, I want y'all to pray. I need a miracle in my life. I need a new miracle in my life. And every day she needs a miracle.
I told her last night, I said,
and do you know why she needs a miracle every day? Because she will not turn her life over to God.
that's right.
She'll live any way that she wants to, and she thinks whenever she calls on the Lord is supposed to drop everything that He's doing and run to her and take care of her little nitwicking problems. God is not going to work that way. Whenever that you're out there in sin and you're living a life that's just any way you want to live it, and you're doing whatever that you want to do, whenever you call on God, don't you expect Him to come running to your side and grab you by the hand and jerk you up and give you a financial blessing or a spiritual blessing unless you give your heart to Him and turn everything over to Him. He's not going to run to you every time that you need Him.
Hallelujah.
Some people say, oh yes, He will. No, He won't. Hallelujah. God's not going to the gutter. He's not going to go into the gut. You know what He's going to do? He's going to wait till you come to Him. Mm-hmm. Now listen to this. Stay with me. And some of them said, could not this man, which opened the eyes of the blind, have caused that even this man should not have died? Jesus therefore again groaned in himself, come unto the grave. Now listen to this. It was a cave, a stone lay upon it. Now, remember, at this time, well, I'll read it. Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. See, Jesus already knew what was fixing to take place. He'd already talked to the Spirit about it. He'd already talked to the Holy Ghost power. He'd already talked to Him and said, look, I know what's going to take place. Let's talk about this. Let's get this in our mind when I go to that grave. I want you to know that we're on the same wavelength, okay? And I knew that thou hearest me always. But because of the people which stand by, I say it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me. And when he had thus spoken, he cried with a loud voice. Before I go into that, I want you to understand this. Martha had told Jesus, she said, Jesus, she still had that resentment spirit. She said, he's been in the grave for 4 days. He's been in there for 4 days. And if he's been dead for 4 days,
he stinks.
He stinks. He stinks. So why you want to roll back the stone? Because whenever you do, you're going to get the odor. See, Jesus had already talked to the Almighty God. He had already got everything set just exactly like it was going to be. He wanted to convince some people that he was going to be the Almighty. Now listen to what he said. And when he had thus spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. Lazarus, come forth. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot, with grave clothes. Did anybody understand? Back then, whenever they buried somebody, they wrapped them in grave clothes. In other words, they wrapped them like a mummy. How many people have seen mummies? Know what I'm talking about? Lazarus was in the grave. He was in the cave. He was wrapped up in grave clothes. In other words, he was a mummy. They had him down in the bottom of the cave, and everything was set aside. But this Lord, and I'm talking about this man named Jesus, knew more about what was going on. He had already known, whenever he was back there and stayed that extra 2 days, that what was fixing to take place. That when he went up to that grave where Lazarus lay, that he was going to tell him, Lazarus, I want you to do something. I want you to come out of that grave. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was bound about with a napkin. Jesus said to them, loose him and let him go. Now we can spiritually be bound. Spiritually we can be wrapped in grave clothes. You understand what I'm saying? Spiritually we can be bound and we can be wrapped in grave clothes. We can get to the place that we're just laying there. No movement, we're dead in the spirit. But there's one thing that can take place in our life. If we just let it happen. Whenever we say, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Whenever we stand before the Almighty God, whenever that we're dead spiritually, we're bound with grave clothes, we can't move, we need something to happen in our life. We need somebody every once in a while to reach out and try to get a hold of Jesus Christ. Amen. Hallelujah. Have you ever been to the place that you thought you had took your last step? Have you ever been to the place where it looked like you couldn't take another step? And somebody that you knew that at every time that you needed something from God, you would call them out and they'd begin to pray and God would begin to move in your life. And it wasn't long till you could feel the power of liberty as you begin to feel the presence of God. See, Lazarus was there for the glory of God. He died because God wanted him to. He died because God wanted the people to believe in the man called Jesus Christ. Now, if you'd have been there that day, if you'd have been there that day, Jamie, and you'd been standing there, and you'd been watching that grave, whenever the men or whoever it was that went up and rolled out a big stone away from that cave door, and you were standing there looking up, maybe looking up to the hill or looking down to the cave, and you heard Jesus Walk up there and you heard him say, Lazarus, come forth. Lazarus, I want you to come out of the grave. And you had been standing there, and you had your eyes fixed upon that cave. What would have been going through your mind? What had been going through your mind? If you said, I don't know what I'm fixing to see here, but whatever it is, I'm a little leery of it. But you have not been that way. Is he going to come out of there, or is he not? And Jesus had just spoke the words, Lazarus, come forward. Our spiritual life sometimes gets to the pits. Sometimes our spiritual life gets down where we need a resurrection. We need a renewing of the Spirit of God in our life. See, there's renewings and refreshings of the Holy Ghost. Hallelujah. There is renewings and refreshing of the Holy Ghost, of the Spirit of God. Now, if you've been standing there and you've been looking down, Lazarus, Martha was standing there. Lord, he's been dead for 4 days. You roll that stone back and you're going to smell some stink. It's not going to be pretty. And Jesus says, Lazarus, I want you to come forward. Looking down at that old cave, or looking up at it where it was on the side of you, or down in the old place, looking at it, and there's a void. There's a dark void in front of that cave. Our spiritual life can get to this point. And there's a void at the front of that cave. You can't see nothing down in the cave. Jesus has spoken the words. Hallelujah. I feel the presence of the Lord. Jesus has spoken the words. Lazarus, come forth. You're standing there looking. And all of a sudden, you begin to see a movement. You begin to see something kind of wobbling. You think, what is going on? You're human. What's going on here? And all of a sudden, a mummy makes its way out through the mouth of the cave. First thing you're going to say, is that Lazarus? Is that really him? And what did Jesus say? He said, loose him and let him go. Loose him and let him go. You know, sometimes we get stale. Our spiritual life gets stale. Sometimes we need a touch from God. Sometimes today it's not a great thing to ask God to pep up your spiritual life. There's been many a time that I got down so low that I had to have a step ladder to reach the earthworm's belly. I got low, but whenever that God began to deal with me and I began to feel the presence of God again, you know what it done? It lifted me up. It brought me up. Listen, Lazarus was laying dead in that grave. But God done it for His glory. Even though there was people that were standing around there that saw Lazarus come out of that grave, they run straight to the Pharisees, the priests, and everybody else and told them what was going on. They said it's probably been a show put on. Probably been a show put on. And I can just see right now how that the world looks at Christ today. How that the world looks at Christ today. Even though He was to do the great miracles and through somebody, you know, we can do the miracles of God. He said, greater things than these that you'd be able to do. Greater things than these. And think of the things that Jesus done. Where are we at today? We're spiritually dead. We're wrapped in grave clothes, and we can't get loose from where we're at. We need the Master. We need the Master. I want to ask you a question. Have you sent for the Master lately? Have you sent for the Master lately? Have you walked into your bedroom and fell down on your knees beside of your bed and said, God, I need a spiritual outpouring in my life. I need you to wake me up. I need you to bring me back to where I need to be in the Lord. It makes me feel good whenever I hear people say, I feel the presence of the Lord. I feel the presence of the Lord. I feel it greater than I have in a long time. Hallelujah. You know what? God is still in the miracle working business. He will still bring the dead to life. He will still raise people up. He will still move in your life. He will still do the things in your life that He always did. He said, I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. I am not going to change. What is it that you need from me? If it's something you need from me, it's a healing. If it's a spiritual outpouring, ask me for it and I will give it to you. How do you want to ask it? Do you want to ask it in the right form of mind? Amen. Martha. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. She asked it in a resentful way. But Mary asked the same question. She said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Same question. Said the same thing to him. But Martha went there with a resentment spirit. And Mary went there on her knees before the Lord. Sometimes we ask God for things, but we're not in the right mind to ask. Sometimes we say, God, I need this. And we're in the wrong frame of mind. And then we'll go to God and ask Him for the same thing in a humble spirit. And God will move in the situation. They both seen Lazarus come forward. They both believed that God could do, He could do the miracle. But it's times that we need to come to God with a humble spirit to get what we need from Him. We do. And how many times, like I said a minute ago, how many times do we get down spiritually in our life? We get down spiritually in our life and we need God to move. Get in the right form of mind when you go to talking to it. Don't get in a resentful. God, if you had done this, my life would have went the way it went. God, if you had just done this, I wouldn't have had to done this. But go to Him and say, God, I need an outpouring of your Spirit in me. I need you to move in my life. I need you to touch. Shannon, how great you are. Here's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to ask the favor of you. Not for me, it's for you. Shannon's going to play this song. And I'm going to ask you this. If you feel like there's anything lacking in your life tonight, if you feel like that you need God to unwrap the grave clothes, if you feel like that you need a touch from God, greater than you've ever had, tell you what I want you to do. Lazarus, come to this altar. I want you to come to this altar, and I want you to talk to Him. I want you to tell Him, Lord, I need an outpouring of your Spirit in my life. I want to be stronger spiritually than I ever been in my life. I want you to raise me up, God, just like you did Lazarus. God, I want you to lift me up. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We can never get too close to God. Lazarus, come forward. Hallelujah. Lazarus, come forward. And Lazarus came out in the grave clothes. Spiritually bound. Physically bound as Lazarus. You may be wrapped in those clothes tonight. And you need more from God than you ever needed in your life. Satan is working at you harder than he's ever worked. But we're on the winning side. We're on the winning side. Hallelujah. Don't leave this altar until you got what you need. Till the grave clothes is unwrapped and the spiritual blessing begins to flow. Hallelujah. Until the spiritual blessing begins to flow. Hallelujah. Talk to Him. Talk to Him. Hallelujah. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Martha? Mary? Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Hallelujah. People, we need to get strong spiritually. We're in a world today